Okay, so before we take this picture, what's 5249 Okay. Okay. How did you come up with or you just inherited it? Was that okay. Okay. Nice. Okay. So we will face out this way. So I'll get to the middle here. Who wants to hold the proclamation? Okay.
Roxanne.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, the next proclamation we have is Water Safety Month. As we enter into, which really is the kind of, in my opinion, the best season to be in Sparta, when you can enjoy the water and all the lakes and streams that we have. So it's very appropriate that we proclaim this month Water Safety Month. And so I'll read the proclamation. Whereas citizens of Sparta Township, along with the New Jersey Swim Alliance and New Jersey Recreation and Park Association, recognize the vital role that swimming and aquatic-related activities relate to good physical and mental health and enhance the quality of life for all people. And whereas the citizens of Sparta Township, along with NJSSA and NJRPA, understand the essential role that education regarding the topic of water safety plays in preventing drownings and recreational water-related injuries. And whereas the citizens of Sparta Township, along with NJSSA and NJRPA, are aware of the contributions made by the recreational water industry as represented by the organizations involved in the National Water Safety Month Coalition, developing safe swimming facilities, aquatic programs, home schools, and spas, and related activities, providing healthy places to recreate, learn, and grow, build self-esteem, confidence, and sense of self-worth, which contributes to the quality of life in our community. And whereas the citizens of Sparta Township, along with NJSSA and NJRPA, recognize the ongoing efforts and commitments to educate the public on pool and spa safety issues and initiatives by the pool, spa, lakes, water park, recreation, and parks industries. And whereas the citizens of Sparta Township, along with NJSSA and NJRPA, understand the vital importance of communicating water safety rules and programs to families and individuals of all ages, whether owners of private pools, users of public swimming facilities, or visitors to water parks. Now therefore be it resolved that the Township Council of the Township of Sparta calls upon all citizens to reflect and renew our commitment to encourage responsible water safety, to raise awareness and report issues of concern, an effort to keep all our citizens of the community safe. And so we have, I think Jean Montemuro was here. Yeah, there she is. I don't have my glasses. And I have to think, after reading this, I think I'm someone that does need to, exercise responsible water safety. I've done a few of these open water swims, including a 10K swim in the Hudson River a few years ago. I don't know if people would consider that very safe, but, I made it out safely because of our committed lifeguards and people who actually know how to practice water safety. So the reason I can do events and races like that is because we have people who are trained in water safety. So my hat goes off to them. So thank you. So I will give this award. And we also have Linda Tower and some Girl Scouts.
Awesome. And I water skied in the Hudson River.
Yeah. Live to tell about it.
I live to tell about it.
Explains a lot.
Are you? Oh, nice.
Need a microphone? Hey, Neil. Yeah. Gene? Yeah, I think you'll turn it on. Okay.
Okay, so along with the proclamation for the water safety for this month, NJRPA and the NJSIA as of last year, I think some of you might remember, but we are going to be collecting bathing suits again. It's a bathing suit drive because water safety, our community is great. We do have the lifeguards, we have people teaching people how to swim, but there's many communities in the state that are not as fortunate as us. And one of the main things to get people in the water is having bathing suits, right? You need the appropriate swimwear. You want to make sure they're good. So we did collect probably 30, 35 last year, but we can do better than that. We can definitely do better than that. We do need bathing suits in the, I'm going to say from the 5 to 18-year range, right? We want to make sure that the middle schoolers that have never swam or whatever are comfortable in what they're swimming in. So if you're out there and you want to help this cause, come. There'll be donation boxes at the rec department. And where are you guys putting yours? Where's your donation box going to be?
It's gonna be our school in the middle of the walkway, so everybody can see it.
Which school?
Helen Morgan. Helen Morgan.
So Helen Morgan School will have a box also. So just drop them off. Even at the rec office, the office is usually open in the morning between 9 and 11, 11:30. And the library is open. You could always, Dave will take some there if it's off our hours. The other thing that's going along with the water safety is New Jersey does the largest swim lesson in the state. So everybody registers. There's one day of it and you register for it. So we're working with Jefferson and probably Lake Mohawk because the township itself doesn't have a water facility. And we're going to get people registered, hopefully, to participate in this largest swim lesson event. So we'll have more details on that when that comes out. But we are working with Grace Ryan-Smith from Jefferson. She's the director there. So but lots of stuff going around with water safety. And the last thing I want to say is we do our swimming at Camp Sac. We do have lifeguards there. And we do have the senior pool. We need lifeguards. We are definitely short a couple that we're going to have some closing dates if we don't get the guards to be able to come out and help us out. At Camp Sac, you only work Monday through Friday. During camp hours, we have more hours over at Knoll Heights with the seniors. So we will also do some reimbursement for your certifications. So contact the rec office and we'll have more details.
How about life jackets? You need life jackets?
We will definitely take donations for life jackets and hand them out appropriately to the camps that are in need throughout the state. We try to prioritize camps that give free or reduced cost swimming lessons and direct our donations for the swimsuit drive and any life jackets or swim diapers or goggles that we collect to those organizations.
Yes, it's goggles. I forgot to say
Yeah. I'm the executive director for New Jersey Swim Safety Alliance. So this is a great partnership, and Sparta obviously is a big leader in it.
Thank you.
All of us? Yeah, all of you.
You don't want the microphone in the?
No, I want this. I want the seal. That's great. Thank you.
So just to reiterate, you need bathing suits between the 5 and 18 age group. The donation places are Helen Morgan, also the rec department, and you will take, and here, and you will take life jackets. And also, until the Sparta robotics team develops a robotic lifeguard, we actually need lifeguards, so.
The senior center needs lifeguards as well.
All right, so lifeguards needed. Okay. So we are now up to, we have no minutes tonight. We are up to the manager's report. So Manager Zepp, could you please give us your report?
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, Council, Sparta residents, both present and online. I'm excited to announce a couple of upcoming events in Sparta. As a reminder, the annual Trout Derby will be held this Saturday, May 17th, at the pond at Station Park from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. This event is sponsored through our Parks and Recreation Department, along with the Trout Unlimited. Registration is not required and there's no cost, but they are accepting donations of non-perishable food items to the Sparta Community Food Pantry. Bring the family with fishing poles, and prize numbers will be drawn every hour. Sparta VFW Post Number 7248 is organizing the Sparta Township Memorial Day Parade, which will take place on Monday, May 26, beginning at 10 a.m., starting at East Shore Trail and ends at Dykstra Park for a Memorial Day ceremony. Our office, as well as the police department, received the requested county highway occupancy permit for the road closure. If any organization is interested in participating in the parade, the parade registration can be found on the Sparta VFW Post 7248 Facebook page or in the article on Tap into Sparta. As a reminder, the deadline for Sparta's business owners to renew annually for their portable advertisement signs is June 15th. More information can be found under the Sparta Township General Code sections 4-17.1 through 4-17.7, or by calling the Planning and Zoning Office at 973-729-8093. The Recreation Department is in need of lifeguards. Where have we heard that before? For both summer camp at the senior pool and at Camp Sac. Lifeguard certification reimbursement is available. Registration is still open for most age groups for Summer Day Camp and Camp Sacagawea. Please call the Recreation Office for more information. Our Sparta Library was contacted by the Chelsea with the idea of having library staff visit their facility and speak on the services the library can provide to their residents. Certain staff members visited in April, and they were able to register a dozen new patrons, as well as have a schedule to return on a monthly basis to bring in new items to the residents. Dave Costa, our library director, is hoping to reach more people through this arrangement. As a reminder, the Sparta Library offers homebound delivery service, which is a free service available to Sparta Library patrons who reside in Sparta, who may be restricted to their homes due to medical necessity or has no one at home who can provide the service. Please contact the library at 973-729-3101 or email library@spartalibrary.com. Ryan Odom, our chief of the Sparta Township Fire Department, has provided a first quarter report for 2025, which resulted in the department responding to 127 calls for service. That's just the first quarter. Active. I would like to recognize all first responders in the town for their duties in responding to some of the more recent significant motor vehicle accidents that have happened in the township in the last couple of weeks, i.e. the tractor-trailer accident on Route 15 and the Route 517 exit ramp, the dump truck that rolled over at the intersection of Glen Road and Main Street by Mavis Tire there, and the dump truck accident at the intersection of Stanhope Road and Winona Parkway. If you know a first responder, including dispatchers, police officers, firefighters, ambulance squad members, as well as those who serve in surrounding towns where mutual aid is received, thank them for the 24/7 services they provide. Lastly, 30 new hometown hero banners have been ordered, and we received confirmation that they will be in receipt of them before Memorial Day weekend. I will have my staff put these up on the empty lampposts that don't have the banners, and we're hoping to have them up before Memorial Day weekend. I know we have the ones up now, and a lot of people who had ordered those banners, they're looking for their banners. We haven't received them yet. I will let you know as soon as we do, and we'll get them up as soon as possible. Chief McCarrick will now present his portion of the mayor's report. This concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Manager Zepp. Thank you, Mayor, Deputy Mayor, Council. Hope everybody, all the moms out there had a great Mother's Day. It was a beautiful day out. As I reported last month, the police department was awarded grant money, $7,000 for Put the Phone Away or Pay Distracted Driving campaign. I just want to report on the results of that. The campaign took place during April, and as a result, the officers stopped 215 motor vehicles, issued 71 motor vehicle summonses, issued 93 warnings, and there were 2 arrests made. And that was just strictly for the campaign. That's not what the other patrols did during their normal shift. Also, this month, the Sparta Police Department was awarded $7,000 in the Click It or Ticket campaign, which is to provide overtime funds for officers working to educate and enforce seatbelt and child safety restraint violations. This campaign will take place from the 19th of this month to June 1st, and you'll see extra patrols during that time frame. The annual Law Enforcement Special Olympics torch run will be taking place on Friday, June 6th. Over 3,000 police officers will take place on the streets to run 26 separate legs starting at 4:45 a.m. to raise awareness for the New Jersey Special Olympics. This inspiring event will lead up to the New Jersey Special Olympics Summer Games, which takes place at the College of New Jersey on June 7th and 8th. And I would like to invite the public to come out and run with us. We'll be putting information on our social media as to how to get a hold of us to let you know that you want to run and the times and place to meet. I'm proud to announce the completion of our second annual report for 2024. The extensive report provides an overview of our police department on all levels. And this year, we include an analytical review of the department's use of force in vehicular pursuits. I would like to thank our team who put forth a tremendous amount of time and effort in putting this together, especially Joseph Kali-Yusuf, who really was, I say, the brains behind the operation, putting it all together and getting it online for us, which it was put online on our website today. Last, Mr. Zepp, I want to thank you for thanking the first responders out there. And the next thing I feel has a very good connection to our first responders. And I'm very proud to announce that Sparta Township is ranked as the third safest city in New Jersey for 2025 report from Safewise. And consistently for years now, our township has been ranked in the top 10 in this state and in the nation. And as I reported to you before, it is a team effort. It's not just the police department, it's everybody. It's the whole community, the stakeholders, the business owners, the schools, the people who work here and come here for recreation, and most importantly, our workers. I'm very proud of my police department. And all the work that they do every day, every night when they put on the uniform and they go out there and put themselves in harm's ways to keep others safe and keep our community safe. And to my officers, you should be very proud of this achievement as a direct result of the work and dedication that you have for our community. And with that being said, it is National Police Week, and I ask you all to think about and remember the ones who lost their lives in the line of duty or by simply doing their job, going to work and doing their job. But please celebrate their legacy and support the ones that carry it on day in and day out. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bravo for being third in the state. Thank you.
Thank you. I do want to add another thing that I think last week I had the pleasure of being on a call with Chief McCarrick and Manager Zepp and others from Elizabeth Gas, where I think the police were able to express some concerns that they had about how Elizabeth Gas was setting up to make sure that they were giving proper notice. And so, because I know you probably got some complaints from citizens, and our police force as well as Manager Zepp are right on that. So if you could speak a little bit to that, that would be great.
Yeah, so oftentimes there's road work going on in town, as we see. I feel like everywhere we go, there's road work. And our department goes out numerous times throughout the day to check on these individuals, to make sure they have the proper signage, to make sure it's safe for our community, make sure it's safe for the workers, any of our officers that are working it. Like you said, Elizabethtown Gas is doing a lot of work on Glen Road, up in the areas off of Glen Road. We have received some complaints and things of that nature. We were able to all get together, collaborate, have an understanding of what is needed from the police department, what is needed from the contractors, and the ultimate goal of bringing this service to town in a timely manner and in a safe manner. So it was taken care of.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
And just so folks know also about the SafeWise, this is based off of FBI crime data. So this isn't, what happens in my profession where, you can become a super lawyer simply if you just get enough people to submit an application to put you in. This is actually real data. And so it's a really hard won achievement. So congratulations to all you and all members of the force. A fantastic job.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. May I have a motion to accept the manager's report?
I'll make a motion to accept the manager's report.
May I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
The manager's report is accepted. We are now up to our first public comment period. This is limited to items not on the agenda, and I would ask that you please be mindful of the 5-minute limit. You know, we had a problem with that in our last meeting. I don't want to have that happen again, because it has us pursuing ways to make sure people do get cut off at 5 minutes, including cutting the mic. We don't want to do that, so I ask you that you be respectful of the other members of the public who will abide by the 5 minutes, that everyone please abide by it. Thank you. So with that, if you have something you want to comment on from item that's not on the agenda, please approach the mic and state your name for the record.
Jim Castamore. Sparta Township has experienced a significant decline from its previously well-managed, fiscally sound, responsible growth plan to a state of unchecked chaos and confusion. Just 3 years ago, the township had a budget surplus of over $11 million. Now, which has dwindled down at the end of 2025, will be around $350,000. This is a direct result of reckless government spending and zero rateable economic growth or prosperity coming to Sparta Township. This fiscal decline has resulted in a sizable tax increase, as well as legitimate questions if the town will remain solvent through the year of 2025. The unknown costs of significant land use lawsuits and questions around proper ethics and values around land use continue to plague the residents of Sparta Township and prospective business owners. With the threat of additional lawsuits looming, unfortunately, most of this litigation was unavoidable. Historically, Sparta Township was under the leadership of experienced and knowledgeable professionals, include land use attorneys, planners, legal counsel, such as Tom Collins and Tom Ryan, who served the township for decades. These professionals successfully represented Sparta Township in various legal cases, including the recent victory against Diamond Ship Realty led by Tom Collins. Despite these successes, both Collins and Ryan were terminated by the council. Additionally, Catherine Simard, who was the former township planner who also contributed to legal victories around the most recent fair share housing requirement Sparta Township, was also released and let go. The very people that have protected our town and interests for years have been removed by town council members and replaced with professionals that have sued the township and have current lawsuits against the township pending. How'd we get here? I mean, something's really wrong here. And, you know, 2 weeks ago I was here and people are all upset about these 3 cannabis ordinances that got put through. Margie, I have a comment. Tonight, when it comes to new business, one of you two make a motion to repeal those 3 ordinances. And one of you two second that motion and bring it up to a vote tonight. And we'll see exactly where the town council stands, because the people in Sparta gave Roxanne now the correct number of required signatures. I understand first it wasn't the correct number, now it is. So bring up that motion and say, get rid of this ordinances, second it, bring it up to a vote tonight. Let's see where this council stands once for all. It's about time that people in this town are listened to. So there's 1,500 signatures that said, hey, we don't want this. And that's all I got to say. Oh, Anand, that reminds me, the last town council meeting, you told me I needed to hire an attorney for Oprah. I did. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else have a public comment for items that are not on the agenda?
Hi, everyone. Joan Furman, Chair of the Planning Board. First, I'd just like to address what the gentleman just said and make a correction, because Catherine Sarmad did in fact resign from the Planning Board. Okay. So anyway, I'm only here to correct a misstatement that was made at the last April 22nd, 2025 meeting, wherein I represented the Sparta Township Planning Board in declaring its unanimous opinion that the proposed ordinance 25-07 was not consistent with the master plan. I also reiterated several recommendations that the planning board deemed appropriate and further referenced the municipal land use law, statute 40:55D-26A, relating to our referral powers. I was challenged by a belief that once the report is acknowledged, the next steps by town council became permissive. It was cited several times that, quote, "the recording of reasons is only triggered if council," again, quote, "approves or changes those recommendations." However, the correct language is that the governing body may disapprove or change any recommendation by a vote of the majority. So let's be clear. You would have to vote to disapprove our recommendations, and this was not done. In summary, the plain language of the statute was not adhered to prior to voting on ordinance 25-07. The planning board has scheduled an executive session at our next meeting to review these procedural aspects, and the board will render a written opinion at that time. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I would like to make a comment, Ms. Furman. I disagree with your assessment that Catherine Simard was resigned. I think that simplifies it to a large degree. I watched the proceedings. I've also talked to a lot of planning board members. I don't think that's an accurate statement to just leave it out there as she resigned. Secondly, you do realize that the planning board and council can directly communicate. I mean, I know you can come up here and speak, obviously representing the planning board, obviously, or as an individual, of course. But the planning board and council can also communicate directly outside of meetings like this. So if there's issues or communications that are needed, feel free to do that as well. You don't need to wait to a council meeting to make a statement. It'd be quicker probably just to send us a direct conversation or a memo.
We're going to do that. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Any other member of the public about items not on the agenda?
Hi, Beth Broderick, North Shore. I just have a couple of ordinance questions regarding the dispensaries and the 250 feet. I saw something, I don't have the ordinance with me, but I saw something about proximity to establishments that sell and serve food, and I'm just looking for clarification. An example of my question would be, in the theater center, the RJ Mars spot is now empty, but it's right next door to a coffee place, and then there's another restaurant right next door.
Yeah, I know. I'll let you finish, but I have it. Yeah.
I'm just trying to stay within the 5 minutes.
Okay.
So what are the guidelines for that? And also, is it that's the whole section of the parking lot? Because you can also look at the movie theater, because they sell food, so does CVS. So I'm looking for clarification on that. And also, so does the bowling alley. So is that going to factor in to, would a dispensary be permitted there, for example, because of the 250 feet or whatever the distance is? The other question that I have regarding the 250 is, when we're going door to door, are you going door to door in all directions? So like if the empty building or the proposed location is on a corner and you have a house behind it and one direction and apartments the other direction and a church diagonal, and if you want, I can tell you it's the Sparta Cobbler location. There's a house behind it on East Mountain. There are apartments to the left, and there's religious buildings diagonal from it. So are you measuring behind the building in front of it? Are you looking at the house behind it and those doors as well for the 250? Again, I don't know if there's anybody looking, but that's just an example. I drive that road every day, so it popped up that he was retiring, and could that be a possible place? So I'm looking for clarification on that. And also there were comments about safety and enforcement. 2.5 years ago, there was an issue at the location across from the railroad tracks on Route 15. And yes, and the headline on the news report is 2 men sentenced to prison for illegally selling marijuana out of Sussex County store. They were arrested. They're in jail they were sentenced to 6 years. Not only were they caught, but it says they both pled guilty to second-degree possession of more than 5 pounds of marijuana with intent to distribute that marijuana, third-degree criminal facilitation of money laundering, and third-degree unlawful possession of a rifle. They admitted to, and there was a whole list of stuff that they did. And they also admitted to possessing and transporting the illegal cash proceeds from those marijuana sales. He admitted to possessing rifles in violation of our state's firearm laws. This is a licensed business for, and I'm not sure how you guys are classifying it, but this is a business that was approved by Sparta, that was caught or busted, however you want to call it, doing something illegal. It may not be a dispensary, but it's in the same general category. There are other places that we all know are doing illegal things, including a few feet from residences, a ball field, and religious buildings. So I would like to know, under the ordinance that 3 people voted to support, how are you going to task Chief McCarrick's team with security when you have an admitted thing right here, and I can forward it to you, of huge violations where people are in jail for it and they admitted breaking the laws? We keep hearing that they're safe, but clearly there's a problem with a licensed place in Sparta. I don't know if it's a smoke shop or what, because I don't go. But I'd like to know what you guys are planning on doing. Maybe Dean and Neil, you can address that, because this was under your watch. And then 3 weeks ago, you approved an ordinance that said, hey, they're totally safe, there's video, nobody under 21. The guys that own it are the problem. And you guys said 3 weeks ago, not a problem. We're going to put it we're approving 250 feet from churches, playgrounds, schools, and residences. And there was nothing, this was not a big deal in Sparta. It kind of got swept under the rug. If you guys are going to continue with this ordinance, I really hope to God before anybody gets approved that there is some kind of plan that you guys have put together to address it. And the other last thing is, we had 1,529 people sign a petition saying we don't want it in its current state. I really hope that you guys would reconsider, or like Mr. Castamore said, rescind it, or even send it to referendum, because 1,529 people said they don't want it in its current state. The people of Sparta have spoken.
Okay, there was a lot in there. I'll try to remember. One on,
Thank you.
I think
Thank you, Matt.
the issue about, my understanding, we can take a closer look at it, is that about the food, that means you can't offer food within the actual premises of the dispensary, because then you convert it into, that doesn't apply to, you have to be 250 feet from a food shop, because if you will look around Sussex County, you will see a dispensary in the same shopping center as a food establishment. Well, no, Augie's, you can't, and that will get to your third point. So again, that 250 feet does not have to be 250 feet from a food establishment. That means you can't have a dispensary where you're also in that same dispensary unit selling food. Then you're converting into a consumption lounge. No, you can't, McDonald's can't say, I'm gonna have this corner over here that sells, cannabis. Yeah, that's what that means. The second one about the measuring, frankly, that's, the statute doesn't necessarily specify the means by which you have to measure it. I think that would require some degree of research of how that would be measured, and that would be something that would probably come up during the application process when you have an applicant in front of you about trying to determine the proximity that it has from a school. And that's something that can be addressed there. On your third point, you gave exactly the reasoning that I put on the record in April 22nd of why we did this dispensary, which is all those rules and regulations. That Canna campus is what you're referring to. They were not a dispensary they were not a regulated dispensary that had to follow all the rules and regulations. And that is exactly why we're doing what we're doing. is because they didn't have to, that, we're not going to have a back and forth. All right, you can email me, but, what I'm saying is that's the whole reasoning for this in the first place, is that Sparta had done absolutely nothing to regulate the transmission of cannabis, and that's the reason why we did it in the first place.
And why is that?
So, and we're not going to belabor that point. There's other, and again, I'm not going to stand in the shoes of Chief McCarrick. He decides on what to investigate and what's not. It's not my job, and I'm not trained in that. And so I'm not going to tell him how to do that job, and he doesn't tell me how to do his job. And so I respect our police and everything that they do.
Make a comment real quick?
Yeah, sure.
To the public, if you have information of a crime, you got to come talk to us. Come talk to us, our detective bureau. You can email us, detectives@spartapd.org, or you come talk to us in person, and we'll take your information.
But that's all I had to say about, cannabis. Frankly, the ordinance has been passed. We've labored on it. We've discussed it. It passed. There are no pending applications. I know there is a petition. It has to get certified. That certification process is ongoing. So we will let that play out the way it will play out. But I will remind people that, we have a lot of work to do in this township. The people up in here were elected not to be the cannabis council person or appointed to the planning board to be the planning board, the cannabis planning board people. There's a whole bunch of issues that we have to address, and we need to start addressing them. And we're not going to spend the next 6-9 months dealing with this issue. We will let it play its out the way it's going to play out, but we need to focus on the myriad of items that the town folk voted us to do. And they didn't vote for us just to focus on cannabis. And I hope that we, going forward, can start addressing some of those issues. So, thank you.
Rob Otto, 41 North Shore Trail. Yeah, so I appreciate that because I see this as a big misdirection, and I do see that there's a big picture that we have to deal with, but I'm not really satisfied, and since the chief is here, I'm curious. I don't want to put you on the spot, but I do want to know, like, going forward. So to the mayor's point, there's rules and regulations that are state promulgated for cannabis dispensaries. So, and it seemed like that the ordinance, promotes health, safety, and well-being. I'm still not sure on that, but I understand the interpretation that putting in rules and regulations in theory is going to provide a safer marketplace. That's fine. I have no issue with that. I have an issue with where those markets are situated because like Beth, the 250 feet door to door. I don't know if I said I'm speaking as a private citizen. Sorry. But all of that aside, I want to know, how do we go forward with the smoke shops or with the businesses that had been selling that are now going to be competing with official dispensaries? I mean, we reported to you this whole gifting thing. It seemed like that was tied into the state regs. I don't know how it works, but could you not act on it until we had dispensary language on the books, or the whole gifting thing? I just don't understand.
Tell me when you're done, then I'll.
All right, sorry. I guess I'm done. I mean, I think you can pick it up from there. It's just going forward, post ordinance approval, what do we do about the smoke shops and the businesses that are skirting what should be the legal regulations? Thanks.
So, you're not putting me on the spot, but you are. So when you're talking about businesses in town, there's zoning regulations that our department doesn't deal with. And I believe with cannabis dispensaries, that is going to be zoning regulations. and they're controlled by the Cannabis Regulatory Commission, okay? That's on a state level, so it's almost like a version of the ABC. There's different inspections that they could do, come in and take a look at things, they control everything. Our department has had many talks with the Regulatory Commission, and they provided us a lot of different information. Just like any business in town, anybody who reaches out to us that has, it doesn't matter what kind of product, if it's cannabis or if it's jewelry or if it's flowers or if it's clothing, that's a vested interest in that business, which is money. And they have product in there. And they may ask us to come out and say, hey, what are some of the safety measures that we could look at here to keep our store safe, to notify you if something's happening, and so on and so forth. And we provide that service. We would with anybody. If these stores do come in, I would expect to have meetings with the owners to see what their safety plan is and to have the correct contacts and hopefully have links to their camera systems for when we need it if something happens.
For the dispensary, but what about?
Correct. You're talking about gifting. Gifting is illegal. Gifting is distribution, okay? Cannabis is regulated from seed to sale by the state. That's what is legal in New Jersey. Buying something off market that's not regulated as cannabis is illegal, and you cannot do it. And that's why I encourage anybody who has any information to bring it forward to the police department. Everybody can come up and sit here and talk to us and say this and that. Come have a conversation with us. Hopefully that answered.
Sorry for,
Yeah,
That's why I'm here.
it's like we go in circles.
Yeah, and I will also add that we are, and I've asked Anand to take a look at it. There is the New Jersey Hemp Act, which has a lot of different provisions in it to really actually go after shops that are selling cannabinoid products that have sort of a very low level of THC, and it's a very low threshold. And so that passed the New Jersey legislature. There was litigation over it, and there's a stay. Now, some people have been interpreted that stay as a blanket stay. There's other people who say, well, that stay only applies to a very small provision in that, and one that would not apply to a township that could now go in and enforce the New Jersey Hemp Act, which is a validly passed law. And so there's a lot of analysis that needs to be done with that. But I think we are currently looking at the New Jersey Hemp Act and whether that gives townships certain remedies that we didn't have prior to the passage of the New Jersey Hemp Act. So that's an ongoing thing that we're looking at, obviously subject to attorney-client privilege, but I just wanted to let you know we are looking at that.
So maybe that was what was limiting.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure, but I just wanted to let you know that we are looking at all available, and I was going to wait to do this until new business, and I will probably wait, but just a spoiler alert, I will be making a motion tonight to refer to our planning board to prepare a report within 35 days. It's under a particular provision to determine the feasibility of prohibiting in all zones smoke shops that sell cannabinoid products. And it will have to be some fine tuning on that. But look, the point that Beth raised about the place on Route 15, those places were allowed to be around for years, and nothing was done about it as far as a regulation from this town council. In fact, that place, after they were busted, as I pointed out in the last meeting, after they were busted, a new place said they wanted to come in, and they got the most cursory review that you could get under our planning board. Not this planning board that's here now, but the planning board. And so we're trying to address that. That was the point of the regulation in the first place. And so again, I'll make an official motion later, but there will be a motion by me to have the planning board to investigate the feasibility of banning smoke shops that sell any cannabinoid products whatsoever. So that way we can't have this proliferation of smoke shops, and they can't get the kind of expedited review that the previous ones got. Yeah, sure.
Have to be smoke shops, or can it just be cannabinoid?
It's cannabinoid. It's not, yeah, because listen, if you're the, yeah, no, it's, yeah, if you want to sell cigarettes, we're not going to ban that, so.
Well, no, I'm just saying, if you were operating another retail use and you had an accessory cannabinoid, I don't want them to skirt, oh, we can only come after us for a smoke shop. I want to keep it broad.
Yeah, and that's something you'll have to, as member of the planning board, you guys are going to have to work out, so, and how to define it. But this council, at least speaking for myself, and I would expect most people sitting up here would want, you'll have, receptivity to that. So, is there anyone else, member of the public, that wishes to be heard on items not on the agenda? You going to double dip, Jim? All right, we'll let you double dip.
I only have one question.
Okay.
You said you're going to have the planning board 35 days. Is that correct?
Well, we'll see. I mean, that's the provision under the statute.
But under the way this ordinance is written, it goes into effect in 20 days.
No, we're talking about two different things. We're talking about smoke shops. Smoke shops are a separate animal from cannabis dispensaries. Yeah, because right now, we have the proliferation of smoke shops that have, that not only sell cannabinoid products, but it's pretty well understood that also going on in there
Oh,
are
okay.
the sell,
Okay.
yeah.
I'm with you.
So I'm
Okay.
trying to cut that off.
Yeah, make that motion tonight.
Okay. I will.
No, Mark will.
A rare agreement.
All right, let the record reflect, Jim Castamore agrees with me. Okay, anyone else?
Mayor, that doesn't happen too often.
I know, I mean, I'm
I want you to know that right up front.
I'm playing the lottery tonight because it's my lucky night. All right, we are now, if anyone else on items not on the agenda? Okay, we are now up to expenditures. So Deputy Mayor Murphy, would you please read the expenditures for May 13th, 2025?
Yes, the total expenditures are $5,261,591.
All right, may I have a motion to approve the expenditures for May 13th, 2025?
So moved.
May I have a second? I'll second it. And all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Are you?
Did you
Did you
vote?
Vote?
No, abstain.
Okay,
Then say it.
so we have 3 ayes and 1 abstention for the expenditures for May 13th, 2025. We have no ordinances to both introduce or have a hearing on, which then moves us right to the second public comment period related to resolutions. So if looking at the resolutions, if you have any comment you want to make to the resolutions, please do so.
Jenny Derricks, Tap into Sparta. Just a quick question is can you give us the highlights of the police contract?
I will do that, Jenny, if, I'm going to take care of the couple of those. I'm going to handle that one separately. And so I will, yeah, unless you want to comment now, however you want to do it.
Yeah, no, well, we discussed in executive session the terms of, it's a 3-year contract with the Superior Officers Association. That includes the captain, the lieutenant, and the sergeants. This is, their contract had expired December 31st of last year. We went through negotiations. We came to terms in the contract, and we developed a memorandum of understanding that the council agrees with, and we're ready to formalize that and develop a new contract.
Thank you. Any other person wishing to be heard on the resolutions? Okay. May I have a motion to approve resolutions 9-1 and 9-2?
I move that we approve resolutions 9-1 and 9-2.
All those in favor say aye.
I will second it, and aye.
All right, so resolutions 9-1, which is, and 9-2 have been approved. We'll now take the rest of them one by one. May I have a motion to approve Resolution 9-3, which is a resolution approving the lease agreement for the operation of a summer day camp at Camp Sacagawea.
Make a motion to approve Resolution 9-3.
May I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, and Jim, this is a pretty standard lease agreement that we do every year with Camp
It is, but
Sacagawea.
I'll be honest with you, because I love the fact that Jean Montemorano is here. She's such an excellent recreation director, and you know what? I had her give me a cheat sheet for this question.
Good.
But I tell you what, I'm going to take the easy way out, and I'm going to have Jean elaborate on what this resolution is about.
So we've had this lease for longer than I've been here, a lot longer. James Kimball, the owner of the camp, leases his properties for us to use as our day camp. The lease includes the week before camp, we get 3 days to be able to run our staff training, 6 weeks, Monday through Friday, from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. to actually run the camp, which includes he's done tons of improvements since COVID. He kind of reinvented himself over there, and he allows us to use everything. We've got the huge tent with the concrete pad. He lets us use all his tables. We use his barn for storage. We use the big house and some of the other buildings when it rains. It's a very, to me, it's one of the most cooperative agreements between government and a private in whatever. What we pay him for the whole season, I know he can make in one wedding, renting from us a Thursday to a Sunday, and he doesn't do any rentals until Friday after 5. So it's a really good arrangement for us, and White Lake is a beautiful place for them to be able to swim. So in exchange, we pay a rent that the lease, off the top of my head, I don't remember what the number was, but it 13.5. And he does all the maintenance while we're there. Like if we need anything, we can call him and say, James, we need this or that. He comes down and does it for us. All we have to do is we pay that lease, and then we mow their facilities, the larger fields and that kind of stuff, from May until August. So that's the only two things. He has not raised that lease in at least the 8 years that I've been here. So it's a lucrative, it's a good partnership.
Gene, can you share how many students, how many children, not students, children do we have usually every summer?
Well, we average, our limit is 150 per week. So we're a little bit light this year on all the weeks, but it's about I'm going to say right now, we're averaging about 100, 125 a week for the 6 weeks.
And do they vary each week?
It does vary. You can register per week by week. So we do have openings for anybody who's out there and still looking for that for your kids. But some people use it as their daycare because it's probably the least expensive camp around. And say they'll go all 6 weeks. But we have some people that just love it down there, but their kids, they do family vacations and stuff. So they can go week to week and pick and choose.
That's great. I went to Brownie Day Camp there.
A colleague of mine, when she saw our flyer, she goes, I went to Girl Scout camp there. So, yeah.
All right, well, thank you very much.
Thank you
I
very
really
much.
appreciate
Thank
that
you, Gene.
information. So all those in favor of Resolution 9-3, say aye.
Aye.
Resolution 9-3 is passed. May I have a motion to approve Resolution 9-4, which is a resolution of Township of Sparta supporting the New Jersey Highway Traffic Safety Click It or Ticket 2025 seatbelt mobilization?
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 9-4.
And thank you. And Chief McCarrick, you alluded to this in your speech, but I think this is a grant, am I right? So this is the money that this is basically paying for itself?
Correct.
essentially? Okay.
Yes, the money goes for overtime for specific details for officers to go and enforce this click it or ticket.
Fantastic. And then I'll tell you what I told you when you had the other one, which had to do with distracted driving, I believe.
Correct.
Thank you very much on behalf of the township of pursuing these grants. Because like I said, a township would otherwise need to actually investigate and go after people who are seatbelt violations or distracted driving. And this way we're able to do it, but also not expend funds. We're expending grant money funds that have been given to us. So again, thank you very much for doing that. It's much appreciated.
Absolutely.
All right, so we have a first and a second. All those in favor of approving Resolution 9-4, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Resolution 9-4 has been approved. Next, may I have a motion to approve Resolution 9-5, which is a resolution of the Township of Sparta approving the memorandum of understanding with the Superior Officers Association of the Fraternal Order of Police, Spartan Lodge, number 26A, SOA, and the Township of Sparta. So I'm looking for a motion to approve Resolution 9-5.
I make a motion to approve Resolution 9-5.
May I have a second, please?
I will second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Resolution 9-5 is approved. Next up, may I have a motion to approve Resolution 9-6, which is a resolution authorizing a fireworks display, Lake Mohawk Country Club?
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 9-6.
May I have a second, please?
I will second.
And before we vote, just anyone who hasn't been able to see the fireworks display at Lake Mohawk, you're really missing out. That's about as close to Americana and July 4th as you'll ever get. I know the first time I ever saw that, I thought I'd been transported to the 1950s. Such a sense of community, and many thanks to the Lake Mohawk community for putting on that event that not only benefits people who live in Lake Mohawk, but all the other people who crowd around, on Hill and Dale to make sure they can see the fireworks. And also thank you to our police force who helps monitor traffic for that special event. So with those kudos given, all those in favor of approving Resolution 9-6, say aye.
Aye.
Resolution 9-6 is approved. Next up, we have, may I have a motion to approve Resolution 9-7, which is a resolution authorizing the use of the Union County Cooperative Pricing Agreement. I need a motion, a motion to approve the resolution authorizing the use of the Union County Cooperative Pricing Agreement.
I make a motion to approve 9-7.
May I have a second, please?
I'll second it.
And Jim, could you just fill us
Can you
in a
fill
little
us-
bit what this is
You guys
about?
wondering what this is about, right? This is about
The
asphalt.
paving?
This is about asphalt, all right? The Public Works Department, we use a lot of asphalt, and we try to get the best price of tonnage of asphalt. So we've been going to Weldon Quarry right there in the Pacon for our asphalt, and we operate off of the Sussex County Co-op price there. And what happened was that contract had expired, and we were able to learn that they had awarded a contract to the Union County Co-op, the Weldon Quarry did. So we're just jumping onto another contract, the Union County Co-op, to enjoy their best pricing because the Sussex County one had expired. So we're just keeping our eye on the ball for a cost effectiveness on asphalt.
And how favorable is that, or is it the same or better than the previous pricing that we got when we were in the other cooperative?
I believe it was very similar to the same price, and that's why we did it, as the other one.
Okay.
I got to look on the exact details. I can get that to you,
Yeah.
Mayor.
Okay.
Do we share that advantageous price with Lake Mohawk?
Lake Mohawk is not a public entity.
Well, I understand, but they're the biggest taxpayer we have.
Mark, can you use your microphone, please? Thanks.
Yes, but they're the biggest taxpayer we have in this town.
Right, but they don't enjoy the nonprofit status, the exemption, the governmental exemption of a co-op. like-
Right, but is there some way that Lake Mohawk can enjoy this favorable pricing that you experience?
They could ask, but they couldn't ride the coattails of a co-op like we do. They're not a government entity.
Because they're not a government
Right,
agency?
they're a private community. It's been asked several times, so it's okay.
Yeah, probably for over nearly 100 years. All right, we've had a first and a second. All those in favor of approving Resolution 9-7, say aye.
Aye.
Resolution 9-7 is approved. Next, may I have a motion to approve Resolution 9-8, which is a resolution awarding contract for the project known as 2025 Road Improvement Program Part 1 as part of the Morris County Contract Number 6 for a total amount not to exceed $724,049.75.
Is,
A motion, so I need a motion and a second, then if you have questions, we can get to that. So may I have
make a motion to approve Resolution 9-8.
I'll second.
All right, and before we vote, I think you may have a question.
Yes, is
Deputy
this
Mayor Murphy?
to Is this to pave Fox Hollow and around Sussex Mills and,
Yes, the roads are listed in the resolution here.
yes?
And we're utilizing the co-op again for asphalt and the milling services of the road. And basically what we've done is this is strategic because we waited for the gas lines to get installed, all right? And then after all the gas lines are installed and all the residents are majority hooked up, we go in and we pave the road. This works out really well for everybody. The residents are very happy with this. It's just, we alert Elizabethtown Gas of this schedule so they know if there's any stragglers who need to tie in. They need to tie in because we do have a 5-year moratorium. Once we pave the road,
Right.
you really can't open it again.
Can we include West Shore Trail?
Sounds like a
Does the-
private road to me.
Does the gas company contribute to this?
They actually do. When we discuss when they're opening up the trench, that we do a calculation of the disruption to the roadway, and the town engineer calculates an asphalt reimbursement, and it's sort of like in the form of an escrow, and we're able to draw off of that and put it towards this cost. Hence the reason we're able to start our road improvement program early. In fact, as you know, we haven't introduced a budget yet, and we're already improving the roadways. So this was a very good move for us.
Jim, I have a question. This is a big project, right? And rightfully so. It's paving at least a dozen roads here. Can you just share a little bit around the competitive bidding process, or just how we know that this total cost is a good price and is appropriate?
Well, you're off the co-op, so a lot of hard work's already done. We're using the Morris County Co-op. There's other co-ops that we can look at, Somerset County and all, and you may recall a few years ago, we actually did a bid out where we actually bid out the roads, and we had a whole array of pricing to the point where they were assigning the paving projects per road, per lowest cost to the vendor. It got kind of messy because you're dealing with a whole bunch of different vendors. It's tough to administrate. The quality was questionable, to say the least. We know this vendor, Tilcon, who's working off of the Morris County Co-op. We're very familiar. They've done a lot of roads already in town. The pricing is most advantageous because it's already gone through the competitive bidding process of the Morris County Co-op. So it's been vetted there. The engineer has done the calculations, plus Tilcon also comes out, and they'll do their calculation, and we compare them, and we come up with the best estimate here. You'll see, though, when we close out the project, because we discussed how we use a resolution to open up a big project, and when we close out the project, there may be an adjustment. Sometimes there's a credit, sometimes there's an extra bit, depending on what the work comes out to. And just so you know, this is just for Phase 1. We plan on doing more paving in the summer. So more roads are going to be added. I know residents who are watching and listening, and they don't see the road on here. It may be on here. But for the past couple of years now, the roads have been highly dictated where the gas lines have been going in. All right, and there's a whole lot of work going on out there. So stay tuned for Phase 2.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, we have a first and a second. All those in favor of approving Resolution 9-8, say aye.
Aye.
Resolution 9-8 has been approved. We are now up to the council liaison updates, and I'm going to start actually, which I usually don't do, with myself. I am pleased to report that Sparta Township has now certified as a film-ready community, and I'll read the letter that I got from New Jersey Motion Picture and Television Commission dated May 8th, 2025. Dear Mr. Clark, first let me say how thrilled we are that Sparta Township has completed all steps for certification and is a film-ready location. We will announce the township's official film-ready status at our upcoming board meeting in July. Your certification is the strongest tool you have to attract studios and networks looking for their next production site. We also want to sincerely thank you for your patience during the approval process, which was delayed this past summer due to an extensive program review with the state's Attorney General. The new film-ready requirements are designed to create a standardized, streamlined process that makes our certified locations incredibly appealing to the film and television industry. Congratulations again. We're excited to see what productions come your way Best regards, John Crowley, Executive Director, New Jersey Motion Picture and Television Commission. And if Frank Dolce, you're in the audience, if you'd please stand up, thank you on behalf of the commission, all the work that you did to make this happen. Really, that was, as people know, that was a long and kind of arduous process that we went through, but we got through it, and we're real excited. I think right now there are probably close to 42 active major motion pictures being filmed in New Jersey as we speak. In Monmouth County, Netflix just broke ground on the first phase of, I think, a $950 million production studio. So there's going to be more filming in there. And, we're starting to put pressure on, we're now third in the nation, I think, in entertainment production. And that's putting a lot of pressure on California, who's losing a lot of business for that. And so while I'm on the Film Commission, there's some other things to report. So members of our Film Commission recently went to the Film Expo in the Meadowlands on May 1st. There were over 3,000 registered attendees. Some members of our Film Commission met with professionals from the production side of the industry, various vendors, studios, and service-related companies. They also met with commissioners from other towns, as well as members and heads of the State Film Commission. Just a chance to make connections, learn more, and exchange contact information. And so it was very helpful, and now even more so now that we have the certification. Also, the Film Commission right now is working with 4 possible film projects that have expressed an interest in coming to Sparta. Really, we're at the pre-application stage. These folks are deciding whether they want to file an application in the first place. And so the members of our Film Commission who have experience in the production side and of the industry are speaking with them. And then at the appropriate time, if they do decide to file an application, then that triggers everything that we did on the ordinance. But I appreciate that the members of the Film Commission are doing this kind of pre-application vetting, so the township doesn't have to at the very start of these, because sometimes you don't know how interested someone is, and you spin your wheels and you waste time. And I'd hate to have members of the township having to do that. And so you doing it for free is much appreciated. Finally, in the future, we, the Film Commission, is going to put on kind of a seminar where if people are interested in offering up their private home as a film location, there's compensation from the production companies, obviously not from the township. This is, whatever film commission, film production company. If you're interested, we'll have a meeting so you can kind of explain what that would be involved and how that works, and so you can, and probably even get some people who've had this happen at their own private home who've opened them up to film. But again, stay tuned for that. And also, there is work right now with the movie studio that is looking to come to Sussex County. They are well underway. I'm also happy to report that the county will also be exploring opening their own Film Ready committee, and with partnership with Sussex County Community College, and also exploring at the community college certain curriculum that would apply to the entertainment industry that would be able to be offered at the community college, and so that the community college can be a place to prepare people for the industry, which is such a big and active part of New Jersey, and is soon to be probably a big and active part of Sussex County. Okay, and now we're up to our Trails Committee. I want to thank Deputy Mayor Murphy for going to the county Sussex Trails meeting that happened on Friday. I had to be in Atlanta for a wedding, and so was unable to attend. And I know as I mentioned before, our Trails Committee, we have, 3 separate trails that we're, working on to try to, which require a lot of legwork. The first one being, of course, the one I mentioned, the trail going from the middle school to the high school. And we're underway. I think the next step for that is we needed a representative from the New Jersey Land Trust to come to Sparta because they own part of the land, and Sparta would have to do an exchange of kind of basically swampland for swampland. And the New Jersey Land Trust is looking at that, and I don't think they're not here yet. But again, there's a lot of steps involved with this, but my much appreciated to Doug Dykstra, who's done a lot of work with the maps, et cetera, about how to make this a reality to improve the trail access in Sparta. So fill me in on what happened on Friday.
So what happened was with Mr. Dykstra printed out some very detailed maps, and because we were able to close the landfill over on Dummerist, that the trails will be able to, they can look at that as part of the trail. Also, there's a meeting with the DOT on the 30th of May, which will also, they asked us to come and talk to them about the crossings of Route 15 and where the trails go. And with providing these maps and what they discussed, I let him do all the talking because he knew
Smart decision, because he knows what he's
But,
talking about.
what they did. And they were very, very helpful in saying that they could get hedgehogs out there and clean the trails up. And where there were parcels that needed to be either whether with bridges that needed to be repaired, or if there's a way to go around them, or there's a terrific plan that they've got in place now that it made a lot of sense. And once we can get across Route 15, and some of them these trails will lead all up into New York State, and at one point across the country. So they're doing a tremendous amount of work, and it's getting the land cleared. And because you can't take any mechanics back there, any power saws or anything like that. So they're working with us to help clear our trails.
Yeah, thank you. And I think that's part of the initiative, is that if Sparta starts doing what we want to do in Sparta, that creates a ripple effect across the county, then and across northern New Jersey, to really have an intersection of all these various trails. But we're focusing on the property that obviously is in Sparta and trying to improve those. And our hope is then that will then lead to other towns doing the same thing. So I'm very happy with the progress that they're making. Again, there's a lot of steps involved, a lot of work to identify how we, because you have to get sometimes easements and other things. So there'll be a lot of kind of technical work. But we're very, again, grateful for Doug Dykstra, who's done a tremendous amount of work using his skills as a surveyor. He's done a lot of this, and it's been very helpful. Finally, now up to the other committee that I'm a liaison for, which is Revolutionary 250. So the official kind of launch for Rev 250 will be at Sparta Day, where we'll have an informational booth to share with residents our plans for commemorating the 250 years. As well as soliciting event ideas from the community. And there'll be an interactive activity. I'm not sure quite what that one is yet. But again, if you're planning on going to Sparta Day, I really encourage you to stop by that booth. I think we're going to have a Model T there to hopefully attract people to come who may want to be interested in seeing the Model T, but you're also going to get solicited for talking about what events you'd like to see to commemorate. We do have, the keynote event will really obviously be on July 4th, 2026, and that will take a significant amount of planning. But leading up to that, we've already have a planned tavern talk, which I've alluded to before, which will occur, I think, in January of 2026. At Crows. And that features reenactors who kind of immerse participants to kind of explore events that were happening at or around the time 250 years ago. They'll also be honoring Women's History Month with portrayals of important women during that period. We are working on, I didn't know this. Did folks know there's a time capsule buried by the library that's 50 years old? Okay. We're going to crack that thing open in 2026 and find out what they put in there. So that's going to be another component of it. And there's more that we're working on. We just got to try to get the logistics of it. But we have a great committee who's been very involved. But again, it's not, don't encourage folks from our community. Don't just rely on the folks at that meeting. We have a very wonderful community here, and your ideas will also be helpful. And don't worry, we are still putting on there the simulated crossing of the Delaware, which Lake Mohawk will substitute as the Delaware, and someone's got to dress up as General Washington and cross Lake Mohawk. But I don't think we're going to do that in December, so don't worry, it's going to be that cold. So anyway, that will be another one of the events. But there's a lot to do in all these committees, and again, I think each one of them really contribute to the improved quality of life for Sparta. So I thank all the committee members who have taken time out of their day where they could be doing a myriad of other things to get involved in our community. It's much appreciated. So with that, I will kick it over to Councilman Blumetti.
So update on two different topics. First is the Business Development Committee. I know last meeting we kind of cut out the liaison update, so I have news that we met both on April 24th and also March 27th. So last two meetings, again, fourth Thursday of the month. One night, I also wanted to mention on that, though, there's an opportunity for others to join the committee. So we have several open positions on the BDC, if anyone's interested. The requirements really are that you are a Sparta resident or you own a business based in Sparta. We have a good mix right now of both types of people. We typically have, I think, a little bit more business owners, which is wonderful. So we're looking to diversify and even get more representation there if possible. If you're interested, please just go online, township website, look for the volunteer applications. As you're filling it out, there's a spot for Business Development Committee. We'd love to have a few more folks join us. Second is, again, it's a little bit of a dated update now, but the Master Plan Subcommittee presented at the Planning Board meeting in April. It was actually April 16th. I attended both as a member of council and of the subcommittee looking at the master plan. Much of that meeting was dedicated to providing a presentation to the public on the community survey that took place last fall and showing the results and kind of a little bit of analysis of what came through in that survey. Over 1,000 responses at that survey, actually. So the meetings are continuing. Next step is the numerous focus groups that are being planned now with different stakeholder groups throughout the community. And additionally, there'll be large-scale community open houses and opportunities to engage the public for ideas and reactions to different parts of the master plan. So it's going well. More to come on that over the next number of months. Thank you.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Murphy.
Okay, I have an update on the Environmental Commission. We had Earth Day, and it was the first time it was at the middle school. And unfortunately, I mean, there was incredible displays and tents and different groups from all around with regarding bees and regarding natural grains growing with the mill out on Route 94, and they have a store out there that you can go to that all different types of grains that they're growing. They've redone all of in their fields, they've redone all of the grounds and upgraded all of the grounds themselves, so the dirt and the earth is much cleaner, there's no pesticides, and the grains that are coming out of there are fantastic. So there was that. There was, there must have been 10 different organizations there. Unfortunately, it didn't have as many people as it did when it was located here 2 years ago. So next year, I think we are looking at possibly maybe bringing it back to Town Hall. Or maybe at maybe at Mohawk Avenue School, because it was, I don't know, and maybe there was also a bad accident that day at the bottom of Glen Road that people couldn't get through. So that may have hindered it as well. I don't know, but unfortunately it didn't have because it was supposed to rain, but it didn't. But it was really well done, very well done, and I applaud them. Also, we have watershed ambassadors coming and we're going to have a rain barrel workshop on June 12th from 5:30 to 7, right outside here, where you're going to be able to learn how to make a rain barrel and what to use it for. So if anybody and any children want to sign up for that, please do so. And to help with your own plants, use the water that's coming from the rain and off of your pipes that you can make rain barrels. Also, they have, we are waiting for tree ordinance that with you and Mr. Stoner,
Yeah, we currently have a tree ordinance. I think he's looking to
update,
update it.
okay,
We have one now.
okay, that we need to pass on to the Environmental Commission. And they said making polluters pay resolutions and to make a resolution to make polluters pay. So it's something that we could think about, anybody that we catch polluting, and then maybe we won't have as much to pick up on Earth Day all around the town and all of the roads and highways, like even car parts that we picked up. But it's a thought. I don't know if we do it now. When we catch polluters, Chief, can you?
Well, you have littering fines, summonses, illegal dumping, which, you know, is a disorderly person's offense. So there's fines that come along with that. So it's being done already.
Yeah, it's just, I'm sure it's hard to
Catch them.
catch them. I know, because amazing what we picked up on Earth Day. But there was quite a bit. Also, from Senior Committee, there is the Senior Awards Dinner tomorrow night. Dean, may I see the invitation that you have there? Honoring the Senior of the Year, and thank you. If anyone wishes to go, it's tomorrow night at 5:30 at the Sparta Senior Center, and you can RSVP to the Sparta Rec Department, and it'll be Outstanding Older American honor will be awarded. So that's tomorrow evening. And the Seniors Center, they are looking for lifeguards, as we heard earlier. And also, wouldn't it be great if we had another senior center that was a larger, possibly for more people to attend in a bigger facility with more activities that we could place somewhere, that we could build. So that was another thought.
Just slip that in the budget.
Just-
But yeah, put it right in there.
Just put that right in there. The Cultural Center. And that is, there's also there's a speaker for the deer population. We keep getting asked about the deer population. There is a speaker willing to come, but would like to come to the town council meeting in possibly July to talk about the deer population and how we can help manage that. So that's something we can take a look at for possibly in July. And that's all mine. You took care of the rev,
All
and
right,
that's what
thank
I
you.
have. Thank you.
Councilman Scott.
The planning board met a week ago, and the Sussex County Technical School is putting in a new wastewater management plan, a new wastewater management system, and we saw a presentation on that. In addition, another application which has been long studied by the planning board has been withdrawn, and that's on the Ramez or the Sparta Pharmacy application that was withdrawn. There was also a lot of discussion. There was a great deal of concern by the planning board on the cannabis ordinance and the lack of proper procedure followed by the town council. That's it.
Okay. We're now up to our unfinished or new business. So I'll start again with Councilman Scott. Do you have any unfinished or new business?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to rescind ordinance 2507 and 2508.
I will second that emotion
Okay.
and motion.
All right, all those in favor of rescinding ordinance 2507 and 2508?
Now, we should have a little discussion on this.
If you want to have, you can.
Yeah, I want to have a little discussion. So in the past week, 1,500 people have signed a petition indicating that they are in opposition to the new cannabis legislation that was passed by the majority of the town council. And that was submitted to the town clerk, and it's under process of being certified. Also, I believe there's a Section 62 violation here. This ordinance is in violation of the master plan and should be overturned. I believe that the procedures by the town council were improper in their deliberations of 2507 and 2508. And I think that we should rescind this and continue to talk about it.
Anyone else?
Oh, I have to say, I agree. I really would like to have it put to the public for a referendum or have it put on the November ballot and have the town of Sparta vote on whether we want any cannabis stores in the town of Sparta, period. Or even possibly put it in the ED zone, which would be 1,000 feet and not 250, close to our town center.
A referendum would be a great idea. Let the people speak.
I really would, I agree with that. Dean, what do you think?
No comments. I don't agree.
No?
No, I still stand by my reasoning, and we can disagree respectfully.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's again, already used today by many residents. This does not make it legal. This does not make it illegal, right? It's already legal in New Jersey. Yeah, I've heard that it's commonly known that several places in town already, it's available and it's offered illegally, which is unsafe and unregulated. Yeah, I don't have any other comments in terms of your proposal.
I just don't think it's a look that we need for our town. There's so many places around that can be bought. We don't need it for Sparta.
There are 11 stores within 2 miles of the Sparta border and delivery services available. So we don't need these stores in our town.
Am I correct?
And the
that-
people obviously don't want it. It's just time and time again, it's 4-1. The people of Sparta have no interest in these stores in our town.
But am I right that a petition has been given to our clerk, and the purpose of that petition is to have a referendum? Am I right?
Correct.
Okay. So that is in process, is my understanding. And then, secondly, I will disagree vehemently with your characterization of the procedure that this town council followed. And I don't think more needs to be said in that. I think that if you go back and you look at April 22nd, I think we explained our reasoning and we complied with the requisite statutes. And so don't think any more needs to be said with that. So my vote's not going to change. In any event, why don't we go ahead, unless anyone else has any further comments, we can go to the ayes and nays.
Okay?
All right, so all those in favor of rescinding ordinance 2506 and 2507, say aye.
Aye.
2507 and 2508?
I think is it 25, or I'll do it again.
7 and 8.
7 and 8.
Okay, so I'll start over. All those in favor of rescinding ordinance 2507 and 2508, say aye.
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 All those opposed, say opposed.
Opposed?
Opposed. So the vote is 2-2, which isn't a majority, so the motion fails.
Do we have a roll call vote on that?
Councilman Scott,
Yes to rescinding.
Councilman Blumetti,
No.
Deputy Mayor Murphy,
Yes to rescinding.
Mayor Clark.
No. Okay, any other unfinished or new business by Councilman Scott?
No, sir.
Okay. Deputy Mayor Murphy, any unfinished or new business?
No.
And Councilman Blumetti, any unfinished or new business?
No, none for me.
Okay, and so I will get to the part that I alluded to earlier. Again, I think it's been clear here that these unregulated smoke shops that sell cannabinoid products are problematic. And I think finally we need to do something about them that hasn't been done. And so I would make a motion to refer to the planning board pursuant to 18.32G8 of the Sparta's Municipal Land Use Law and pursuant to 40-55D 26B of the New Jersey statutes, that's the municipal law, land use law for New Jersey, to consider and make a report within 35 days to town council about the legality and feasibility of prohibiting smoke shops that sell cannabinoid-based products in all zones in Sparta, so that we can no longer have this proliferation of these smoke shops that sell cannabinoid products in Sparta. So that's the motion, and may I have a second?
I would just like to make an amendment that we also include any business that offers cannabinoid products, even if not considered a smoke shop.
Okay. So I will then rephrase it. I think, is that okay? Or do I need to make a motion to amend it?
I would make a motion to amend it.
Okay. Well, it hasn't passed yet, so.
Wasn't
Well,
seconded.
Yeah,
if you're
seconded.
changing,
Okay.
changing one.
So this is a motion to amend the motion, so it will read as follows. To refer to the planning board pursuant to 18.32G8 of the Sparta Municipal Land Use Law and pursuant to 40-55D 26B of the New Jersey Municipal Land Use Law to consider and make a report within 35 days to town council about the legality and feasibility of prohibiting smoke shops or any store that sells cannabinoid-based products in all zones in Sparta.
I will second.
All those in favor say aye.
Can we have some discussion about
Sure,
this?
Sure.
Before we do this, I mean, why waste the planning board's time if we're going to have the same reaction to all their effort by the town council? Why spend hour after hour in a planning board meeting, writing it up, presenting it, and then just have it ignored by the town council?
No, well, for one, this has to do with stores that are not legal dispensaries. You know, this obviously would not cover legal dispensaries. What it does address is these smoke shops that heretofore there hasn't been any action by the planning board to regulate these in any event. In fact, they've received the most cursory approval that's allowable. And so my view of this is that I think if the planning board should act on this and explore the feasibility of in all zones making this a prohibitive use, these smoke shops that do sell cannabinoid-based products. So that's unless, you know, if the planning board's okay with these, then okay, then they can say that. They don't see any problem with it, then they can tell us that they don't want to do the report, they don't have any problem with these, then okay, we'll listen to that. But I think that in light of the discussion that we've had and the examination that we had, and if you're really concerned about the delivery of cannabis-based products in Sparta, then I think that the planning board would want to do something about it, and I know I do. I know Councilman Blumetti does, and I would think those who have done so many efforts to, not have dispensaries would also be in support of this.
I disagree with the accusation that this is the planning board's responsibility. These smoke shops were approved in prior planning boards, and they were not approved to be selling THC-like products. And to say that the planning board has been ignorant or has not done their job and to blame it on them is, I think, far from responsible. And I just don't think it's appropriate. I guess it's up to the planning board to consider if they will take up this issue and spend the time required, especially with the response they received last time.
Is there a way we can make an ordinance that is not allowed?
That's the point of referring it to the planning board, is that the planning board can pursue the mechanism by which you could limit or even prohibit these, smoke shops that are not regulated dispensaries from selling cannabinoid-based products.
We would make an ordinance first and then send it to the planning board?
No, we can do it this way, which is, we can refer it to at least have feedback from the planning board as opposed to doing an ordinance and then sending it to them. So this is a mechanism that's already allowed under both Sparta and the state's statutes. So we're doing it according to the provisions that we have.
Mr. Mayor, respectfully, you seem to be well-versed on this. What was the planning board, did the planning board in prior years approve a cannabis shop in this town? Or?
They approved smoke shops, obviously because we see them there. And it's my understanding that the smoke shop that came in that replaced the one where the owner went to prison, that one was replaced under a kind of a waiver considered retail to retail. And so obviously seems to be a loophole here that we're trying to address. And so that's the point, is to try to, if you prohibit the use, then obviously you're not going to be able to have these. So there may be other ways. The whole idea is if you're concerned about the distribution of cannabinoid-based products, I think this is a step in the right direction.
Well, to blame the planning board is, I don't believe it's responsible.
I'm not blaming the planning, but what I'm saying is that this seems to be something that would be addressed that hasn't been addressed in the past. I'm not putting, it hasn't. That's a fact.
Obviously, it hasn't.
Well, the planning board is not responsible for it.
The planning board is responsible for coming up with rules and regulations related to planning and uses in certain zones. That's the responsibility.
Right, and as Mr. Ryan, the private lawyer,
Go.
the previous lawyer said, cannabis is not allowed to be sold in Sparta. And that's what the planning board knows.
I think we all can agree that these smoke shops have operated in violation of that. And so that, that we have proof of that. That's a fact. It's happened in Sparta. And so the point in making this is let's come up with a solution to stop this. And that's why I think that, engaging the planning board to do this is appropriate. So we have a first and a second. And so therefore, I think we're up for, it's time to vote.
Could we hear from the planning board head, Ms. Furman?
Sure, just to put on the record, the planning board did not approve that application,
Who did?
the zoning department.
There you go. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have a first and a second. We have a motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those in favor, the motion is to, do you need me to read it again?
Please.
Okay. It's a motion to refer to the planning board pursuant to 18.32G8 of the Sparta Municipal Land Use Law and pursuant to 40-55D 26B of the New Jersey Municipal Land Use Law to consider and make a report within 35 days to Town Council about the legality and feasibility of prohibiting smoke shops and stores and other stores that sell cannabinoid-based products in all zones in Sparta.
I think, Mark, to answer your question, I think this is like a multi-pronged approach. I think, right, going at it in this respect, we could also go at it through enforcement, we could go at it in multiple ways, and I believe this last part is also having a legal, safe dispensary as part of that solution, but if we can go at it from a zoning standpoint, right, a land use standpoint, which this is requesting for guidance or advice on, enforcement, I think it's just multiple ways to kind of minimize and get rid of that that's happening already today.
Would we have to affect the zoning board in on that as well?
No, this is just planning. Yeah, zoning board would address a current application that might come to it for a use variance, but in this case, it's going back to saying that here's the zones, here's the land use, guidelines as we have today. What is the legality? What is the feasibility of making this a prohibited use in those zones? So it cuts it off at that point, should a new applicant come in. And it could be
That way
further
we can
details that the
control
planning
it.
board uncovers and the planner might uncover. I mean, it could be lots of else that comes out of that from that perspective.
Yeah, and again, it's for them to consider and make a report. It's not, they don't have to do any action. It's simply we're asking them to investigate the feasibility of doing this. It seems to be according to both you and others, a primary concern of this township about the distribution of cannabinoid-based products in this town, and I just think this is one of the ways that we might be able to limit it, is to prohibit the uses, and make
Of
this
all retails.
in the cannabinoid, these smoke shops that have been used to transmit both cannabinoid-based products and THC-based products. It's a way to investigate whether can we do that? Can we make it a prohibited use?
What about existing ones? Is there anything we can do about that?
Oh, that's a separate issue and not the subject of this motion.
Okay.
It's not?
Well, no, because they're already
Well, I
existing.
mean, that's something that the planning board considered. Hey, we don't need to prohibit it. We just need to enforce the laws that we have. That's something for their consideration in the report. It's up to them. This is simply to start getting action on this issue that, according to you and others, is a very important one. And so I'm
It is
trying
very
to-
important.
Okay, that's what I'm trying to deal with it in one way. So that's,
So, to be clear, this motion is only to stop future illegal stores, not the illegal stores that are here today?
Well,
Is
that's
that
a-
what you're saying?
that's a separate enforcement issue.
And how do we
and-
adjust that?
Well, I think I alluded to that. We have the New Jersey Hemp Act, which has some additional provisions in it that's being explored as a mechanism to give further ability to regulate and to help stop the transmission and distribution of illegal cannabis. That's a separate enforcement part. That's not part of this motion. That's something that's looking at separately under legal analysis.
And this is being explored by who? This?
The Hemp Act.
This is our municipal attorney is looking at that.
Okay.
Can you tell us how that's going, Anand?
I've just begun looking into it. I haven't had a chance to look into it.
Okay.
Okay, so we could have the planning board and the planning board attorney and the planner put together, that's what you're wanting, put together a full guideline of existing and future retail stores and smoke shops to not allow them to have any kind of cannabinoid.
Yeah,
products.
it's simply like you would, there's certain uses that a town doesn't want in their town. And, what I've heard is people don't like the transmission of cannabis. And
Correct.
so one of the ways, illegal transmission of cannabis. And so this is one way that they can explore doing that, which is to prohibit smoke shops that, I think everyone agrees has been, involved in the illegal transmission of cannabinoid-based products, including those with THC.
Correct.
This is for the illegal, right? The unregulated,
Right.
non-licensed, the activity that's going on that we don't want. That's what this is an evaluation of. We're not saying do this. We're not saying create an inventory of existing businesses, or we're just saying from a land use standpoint, is there an opportunity going forward to change what's allowed in all zones?
Future, okay.
So this whole little discussion is a kind of a CYA Band-Aid approach to how we're going to get there? How we're going to enforce this in our town?
No, that's a incorrect characterization. I think I've explained what the purpose is. It's something that they can do a report and consider whether you can make, smoke shops and other stores that sell these type of products. Can you use that as a prohibited use in all zones? In the same way that if, there could be other uses that we wouldn't want anywhere in this town. You could do one, prohibited uses of a munitions factory, and because munitions factories have been a problem in this town, if it was. So it's simply to take advantage of a provision in our land use law that allows the planning board to make this a consideration. That's all. It doesn't bind anyone to do anything, simply to make a report. And then we can hopefully, from that report, we can then, act on it.
Anand, can you explain this? It seems like this is only for future smoke shops and has nothing to do with existing smoke shops. I don't understand how this can be. How can this be segregated like this? How can we have, could you explain that? Maybe, yeah.
So any ordinance that goes into effect generally would apply to, it's very fact sensitive. So it may apply to prospective uses. Any existing businesses that are operating would have to be analyzed on a case-by-case basis as to what approvals, if any, they've received. How does a prospective ordinance impact that business? Were they lawfully existing? Do they become lawfully pre-existing non-conforming? I think the charge is to explore options to, as the mayor stated, regulate prospective smoke shops as the first analysis and see if that analysis will cover existing uses.
Yeah, because right now, under our existing rules, we have vacant properties right now in Sparta, and theoretically, another smoke shop could come into those. It's not a prohibited use. So I think that's the concern. If you want to, it may or may not stop the existing ones, but hopefully it will stop the proliferation of additional ones. And so I think that's what we're trying to address that concern, so we don't have any more of these and additional ones. I think folks would be concerned about having additional smoke shops in Sparta, and this is what this is designed to do.
Well, you sat here on April 22nd for hours explaining how this was going, how 2507 and 2508, we're going to do that already. And now this is just some some CYA, this is a Band-Aid, let's paint over it approach?
No, this is a belt and suspenders approach. And those who are concerned about the proliferation of cannabis, which I think you are, would be in favor of this. If you're not, you're not. But that's.
Why would we have the it's the planning board's job to put all this together and read all the statutes and have them and their lawyer? Is that their position? That's their job to do?
Well, there's a provision in our land use law that obviously allows us to do that, so I think it contemplates that exactly happening. If they choose not to discharge that duty, they can say so.
It is, Margie. So the planning board, often the planning board is involved and overwhelmed with applications coming in, right?
Yeah.
And that takes up most of their time. But the planning board's other duty, and you could say equally important duty, is to do planning, right? Is to think forward, think planning, and make recommendations to the governing body. So it is a core duty. Not sure time always allows for it as much, but that is a key role of the planning board, is not just to adjudicate an applicant coming in front of them, although those hearings are very important, but it's also, time permitting, to do things like the master plan subcommittee, but even on a smaller scale, to recommend changes and things that it sees, but from a land use standpoint, right? This is not law enforcement, this is not taxation. this is-
right.
But yeah, so it does fall nicely into what the planning board can do.
Mr. Dash, what would you recommend? Do we get together with the planning board and do this? Do we have the planner do it? Do we?
I think the motion is simply a recommendation to the planning board to take up a review of the request. I don't think it's a bad idea. If the planning board wishes to decline, it may decline or may not respond, and the council could sua sponte take up the same application if it wishes to. I'm sorry, it could on its own, the council could on its own initiative, if it wishes to regulate, it could do that, or it could delegate it to the planning board pursuant to state statute and municipal ordinance.
All right, so we have, does anyone need any further explanation? But we have a first and a second, and so I think we need to vote. Okay, all those in favor of the motion as read, say aye.
Is this a suggestion to the planning board, or is it like a command?
Go ahead.
Section 26, it's a referral power. So this body is allowed to make a request of the planning board to study any aspect of the planning of the town. So it's a request.
It's a request. Okay.
Okay, any further questions on that?
I don't know, can I see it and you have it written down? Is that it?
Yeah.
35 days going to be enough time?
If you want an extension, they can get an extension. I think that's just the time period under the statute.
Well, I mean, it wouldn't be, It would be good that maybe we could work together on, but we need to clarify. I mean, I'm sure, I don't know if you have enough time to do it.
Yeah, they'll,
But-
listen, I'm sorry, go ahead.
We've got to put stops and before the master plan gets done. If a applicant came in,
What's the downside? I guess.
Hmm?
What's the downside, right? Yeah.
Other than timing,
No,
Or
I think it's a good idea. It's a novel concept that the town council actually listen to what the planning board does. So we will refer it to them and
Maybe we can help.
That would be great. Okay, so all those in favor of the motion as read, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say opposed. Any abstentions?
Mayor, we have a roll call vote.
Sure.
Councilman Scott?
I vote yes, and I hope that the town council takes the advice after the planning board puts all this effort in, takes it under advisement and considers it.
Councilman Blumetti?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Murphy?
Yes.
Mayor Clark?
Yes, the motion passes, and thank you, and I look forward to hearing from the planning board about this, and thank you. We have 2 members in the audience. I think we even had a third earlier from the planning board, so thank you. And I don't have any other unfinished or new business. We're now at the final public comment period, and please again, be mindful of the 5 minutes.
I'll be quick. Just, so, Mark, I think what this is just backfilling in protections, giving the chief probably some more tools so that we could enforce what isn't being addressed, right? The CBD and non-dispensary movement of goods. I would just say, I guess as one planning board member, that I think it would have made more sense to have this request come as part of the larger discussion. But I think we should do it. It just would have been good to have a comprehensive, I almost think page 2 of the existing ordinance that you guys passed, where, there's a little section about enforcement, Dean. I don't know, do you have that with the gifting portion? Like, it would fit right in there. So I don't really understand. It's good that you guys are catching it, and it's good to put it in, but I just think it should have been part of the bigger discussion. And, I still wish, it sounds like the legalization or the ordinance was driven by the smoke shops. Is that correct? The existing smoke shops, well, yeah,
for
Mr.
myself,
Mayor,
yes.
speaking for yourself, it sounded to me like when the ordinance was presented, this is already going on. Smoke shops are doing it. And so the reason we're putting it in these zones is because that's where those smoke shops are. Is that correct?
Yeah.
For you?
Yeah, for me, yeah.
For you. So I would just kind of look at it the other way, because that's kind of what we're doing, and say, well, if that's the case, if we're now dealing with the smoke shops, could it make sense to then look at this comprehensively and say, let's get the zone right? We're cutting out everything. We've agreed that, some of us have agreed that, we need to have something in place. Let's get the zone right. Let's get the distance right. And let's take care of the illegal passage of this. I'm not asking for any response. It's just, that's what I'd like to see. And that's, as one person, that's what I would suggest, but you guys have already voted on the ordinance, so I respect that too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm a little confused. Help me, Jim Castmore. Before the cannabis ordinance went through, didn't you all make a recommendation to the planning board saying, no, this does not fit in with our master plan, so forth and so on? And they asked you to do that. You made the recommendation, and it all went to you.
There's a procedure.
But let me go. So now you're saying, oh, let's send it back down to the planning board. Well, heck, Mayor, you didn't listen the first time, so what's this all believed you're going to listen the second time? I mean, let's be honest with each other. You didn't listen the first time. They made the recommendation, said, don't want this. And 1, 2, 3 said, we want it. we're going to get 2% tax money. Oh, boy. I don't get it. 1,500 people just signed a thing that says we don't want it. They're saying, let's put it up for a referendum. You're saying, no, we'll send it down to the planning board. I'm sorry, but you didn't listen the first time. And I can be rest assured that you won't listen the second time. And these people are volunteers that have given their time to Sparta. And that wasn't fair to them. Thank you.
Yeah, I think you're confusing not listening with not agreeing. When someone doesn't agree with you, it doesn't mean they didn't listen to you. It means they listened to you and don't agree. And so that may be something that may be lost on you.
Mayor, hold on a second. You appointed that planning board. So these are the people you appointed to that planning board. And they said, don't do this. And you said, yeah, I'm going to do it anyway. Why did you appoint them? They're supposed to be part of your team. And in order to have a team, you have to listen to the entire team. I don't care if it's the catcher or the water boy. And they say, and here's this whole planning board said, don't do this. And you said, nah, we're not going to listen to you guys. It's kind of odd, that's all.
Thank you, Mr. Castamore. I agree with you 100%.
I will just say that they got appointed to the planning board based on, not because they agreed with me on every single thing. I would suggest you look into the history of Abraham Lincoln. The book's called Team of Rivals.
Abraham Lincoln's not in attendance in this town.
Well, what my point is that we have very capable and able people on our planning board who come from a lot of different backgrounds, and we're not always going to agree on stuff. We're just not, and that's you see it in council, you see it at the planning board itself, and I wouldn't expect that there would be. And so that's part of the benefit when you fill these planning boards and you fill them. I don't intend to fill them with people who always agree with me. In fact, they come from all different backgrounds because I think they have to offer a lot of different perspective that I may not have on my own background, and I appreciate that. But when you do that, that means you're not always going to agree. In fact, I don't probably agree with people who look like me, sound like me, and come from the same background either. So I don't think you can expect unanimity all the time. I think that's an unreasonable expectation.
You guys agreed earlier.
But we did agree earlier, Jim, so, hey, a broken clock's right twice a day.
You didn't even holler, tell me to sit down and shut up, so I guess I'm off to a good start.
Okay, sorry.
Come on, Rob. Hey, Rob, you have to sit in the back next time, Rob. Thank you.
And I just want to follow up and emphasize that the planning board never made an opinion of whether they support or do not support the legalization and the stores for cannabis retail. Our recommendations, were that it was inconsistent with the master plan, and we wanted you to take a look at some of the wording. I brought up the hemp in March. I brought it up again in April. I said that is in the state definition. It is missing in your definition. And now, after the fact, after it's voted on, you're going to go back and look at hemp. I brought up the CBD last time. What do we do about all of this? So you're referring to the referral powers and citing this statute when it's convenient. Where was it when we should have been the ones looking at cannabis and the master plan? But now we're going to look at cannabinoid, which I don't even know what it is, tell you the truth. But we'll do it. But I just want to point out those inconsistencies, and I don't think it's fair the way it's been done and the way it's been characterized. And if you know these referral powers, you know that such recommendations may be rejected only by a majority of the fully authorized membership of the body. That wasn't done. So we're going to come back and address this, but just keep that in mind going forward.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I have a couple reactions to that, some comments. I understand your concerns, Joan, that the hemp was not part of that That's a state law. That's state-driven. The reason why it's coming up now is because of the recent votes and the progress of that at the state level and how it was passed, except there's a small portion of it that's still pending. So that has nothing to do with this ordinance. The towns don't define what cannabis means. That's defined by the State Regulatory Commission. So that's the reason why hemp is not in there, it's not included. And
But
that
hemp is
makes
in the
sense.
state definition. It's missing in the Sparta definition, and that was something I tried to bring up twice. I wanted, to include it. You had that opportunity. You do have a definition in your ordinances.
Right,
It's
which
just
matches the
lacking.
states. It
It's
matches the
lacking.
states.
No, it does not.
No, but the state's hemp definition law is separate, right?
No, if you read it, there is a second sentence in there that deals with hemp, and that was missing in the Sparta ordinance.
But it's controlled by the state, right?
Yeah,
the
I
state
mean, your
law.
definition really should be matching the state definition. And it led a lot of things to be ambiguous. And the planning board is the one who has to interpret these ambiguities. And that's what we were asking for. And the town council did not address any of those. We asked for definitions. We asked for, why is the word delivery service in here if delivery service is really a class 6 license? Things that could have clarified it, taken it out, and everything was just kind of disregarded. I'm told I had my 5 minutes, kind of a same thing, a sit down and shut up kind of thing, but not in those words.
Yeah.
So,
I would say, they weren't disregarded.
we,
No, we received your report, we read through every one. And to me, some of those were preferences or opinions that weren't data-driven, right, recommendations. And like you said, the planning board at that point was being asked to check with consistency or inconsistency with the master plan. Now, like every other town, the master plan, when it's created, it's not going to include at that time what is illegal, right? So at that time when the master plan was created, obviously, this was not contemplated, right? So that's not surprising. It was inconsistent. Now, is it considered retail or not? Is it just selling another retail product? Then it's consistent. So
I say no.
that's, I'm not asking your opinion. I'm not giving you my opinion. I'm just saying that. So there's where there could be some ambiguity, but the master plan inconsistency came back, right? It was inconsistent. That's the reason why is because you can't put it in there as allow permitted use when it's not permitted at the governing body level, right? The township's not. So it's like a catch-22. So something has to go first. Either township needs to pass it and it's inconsistent when it happens, right? Because how could it be consistent with the master plan when the master plan was written and it was illegal? So no planning board's going to put an illegal use into the
No,
master
but
plan,
that's why
right?
we wanted to look at it, and that was one of our recommendations. And it also, in the statute, it allows us to state any other matters as the board deems appropriate. And to follow the procedure, you would have to reject by a majority vote the things that we recommended, and that wasn't done procedurally. Therefore, I personally, and I'm speaking for myself now, question the validity of the vote. As Mr. Dash pointed out last time, Jennings versus Borough of, got it right here,
Up out there on,
Jennings versus Borough of Highlands. And the governing body gave no signs of complying with the plain language of the statute, and the panel said that the material violation of 40:55D-26A renders the ordinance invalid. So that's what we were asking for. And you know what? If we're just asking you to follow procedure. That was it. If you follow procedure and you took our recommendations and you disavowed them and you gave a reason why on the record, there'd be no issue. So I'm not trying to make it difficult. I'm just trying to do what the law states.
Well, that's your characterization of the law, and that's an
I'm reading it
argument.
directly.
Well,
It's
that-
not a
that-
characterization. But that's
well,
why I said also that
I
we're
get
bringing
that,
it
but
back
what
to
I'm trying to get
executive
at is
session.
that, I don't, by our silence, we're not agreeing, and by my silence, that you're simply making an argument. That's what you're doing, okay? And it's an argument, and it's, you may be right, you may be wrong, I don't know, but it's an argument, and I'm not gonna, debate all the finer points of that. That's what we did on April 22nd. But again, I don't want to mislead the public that somehow by not, point by point, we're disagreeing.
Yeah, I don't know how much we need to keep
Yeah,
proceeding.
I was
But I
ready
do-
to sit down, and I said we're bringing it back to the executive session, and the board itself will make a determination. It should not be my determination, it is the board. And I am speaking for the board, not for myself. So the board will make that determination, and we will put something in
Actually,
writing
I
and
would
let
ask
you
our
know.
township attorney to weigh in on that, because that's really a governing body, passes the ordinances, it's probably the laws that govern us, right, more than your
Right.
executive
Well, you said we
session
should,
would be.
we
So
should work
maybe let Mr.
together,
Dash
and
just
that
kind of
part
give-
was missing in this whole thing, working together.
Well, I think we all appreciate that we should work cooperatively.
Yeah.
I just
Like
want
a
to just,
settlement conference, we should sit down and talk.
I just want to briefly address the last case. That case doesn't, the holding of that case doesn't stand for the proposition that you asserted. As the mayor said, I don't think it's appropriate to get into the legal analysis. But I understand your argument. I submit to you respectfully that there are other provisions that if you, I understand what you're saying, and I respect that, but perhaps in a different forum, I can explain to you why we reached the decision that we reached. The case I cited stands for the proposition where the governing body doesn't acknowledge the report. We did explicitly acknowledge it. But again, I appreciate your time and your comments.
Thank you, I read
Thank
it
you
as
very
well,
much.
but that's why we'll refer back to the board and our legal counsel, and then we can go from there.
Thank you.
So Dean and Neil, after your comments now, should we direct the planning board subcommittee, the master plan subcommittee, to look into the sale of mushrooms in certain zones? I mean, you're saying that we didn't contemplate that because it was illegal before, and the assembly has passed the sale of mushrooms. So if we were to try to prohibit the sale of mushrooms in Sparta, should we be talking, should that specifically be noted in the master plan, in the new master plan? Or should we just wait till you decide to legalize those two?
That's a planning board call, so
Yeah.
maybe you should think about it.
It would be the master plan subcommittee. If you're looking for immediate action, it would be the planning board itself would have to evaluate anything that the council thinks that they should look at in terms of land use. We can request that they evaluate it and provide a report like we just did. The subcommittee would look at, and the chairwoman and myself are on that, and as many others are, would look at future uses and planning, but whether something would ever illegal go onto a master plan?
Well,
no.
do you think the mushrooms are legal or illegal now?
I honestly have no idea, Mark. Are you talking about psychedelic mushrooms? I have no idea what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
they were passed by the,
Did it pass?
yeah, passed.
It's very specified,
So,
you know,
yeah,
it's not,
I'm not answering that.
it's not treated in the same way that cannabis is. It's you know,
We
my
don't
understanding.
know so yet.
Well, you know, I have some experience with.
Maybe they'll be selling combo packs soon.
Well, listen, I think you need to take a look. Have you read the statute? Do you know how it applies? I would caution people before they opine on something, read the actual statute, because it's being characterized that mushrooms are being the same thing as cannabis, and it's not. And so I think we're way too far afield at this point. And so I think we need to move on. And we've had, you know, the motion to refer has passed. There's no need for any further comment. And so with that, I would make a motion.
Jenny didn't get to speak.
Okay.
And the ordinance prohibited cannabis.
Couple of questions first, and then I have
Okay.
a little thing. What is the process you're going to use? Oh, Jenny Derrick stepped into Sparta. What is the process you're going to use to fill the vacant seat went from Dan quitting?
That's still under advisement about the process. I think the council folks need to put their heads together and figure out what process. We haven't decided yet.
So you don't have a timeline? You don't have an expectation of when you're going to try and fill the seat? Faulkner says as soon as possible.
Correct.
Yeah, and so we're you know, the deadline to submit the applications, I think, ended Friday?
Friday.
Yes.
And today is Tuesday?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're working on it.
When does the public get to see the budget?
Next
I'll leave
council
it.
meeting.
Next council meeting?
The 27th.
Will that be a hearing?
No, that's introduction.
Okay. And then I just wanted to read something, just to refresh your memory a little bit. And for this, I'm speaking as Jennifer Derricks, just a resident. Back in September, prior to discussing the turf field, prior to casting his vote, Clark said, "This is a very difficult decision. I'm very mindful of the safety concerns that have been made, but I'm also mindful of those who are making these claims and want us to use these fields. These people who use these fields seem to be content to have consented to the risk. My concern is that we would be saying," this is continuing to quote Mr. Clark, "my concern is that we would be saying, we know better. We don't think you understand the risk," Clark said. "It would be significant disruption to our rec program. Everything in life comes with balance and risk." He said they're not looking for a turf field on every field, but the people have spoken and they want turf. Well, there were 4 people that night that addressed the town council. 4 addressed the town council, and you said that was enough to change your mind. I respectfully request that you would consider the 1,500 people that have spoken.
Thank you.
Jump in really quick. Somebody whose lights are on and flashing, I'm a lot closer to this, like, on this.
What color is the vehicle?
I didn't get close enough, it's on the end. Close.
Okay.
Parked up there. It's not him, it's not me. Just wanted to,
Somebody's lights are flashing?
yeah, like the hazards are on, so I don't know if anyone wants to get back.
Captain's checking it.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Thank you.
It's all yours.
Okay.
Speaker Jesse over here. I saw you guys at, what was it? Something 9:23, and I made it down. A few questions. So, excuse me?
Who are you?
Jesse. Speaker Jesse from Sparta. So a few questions. Last time I was here, I gave Roxanne the federal lawsuit. Is it on the website? Is it going on the website?
What lawsuit are you referring to?
The lawsuit from the mega warehouse.
It's not up yet. I think I did when I mentioned, these were months ago or weeks ago. That,
So if you're going to talk too long and you want me to respect the 5 minutes. though,
here's what you should do. Get your questions done.
Tell me afterwards.
Yeah.
Second thing was, is the IT guy gonna fix the web page and put things in order that I was asking last time? Third issue, I hear that the petition was submitted. The clerk and the township attorney should certify how many signatures are required for a petition. And I've heard 3 different numbers. I've heard 700 and something, I've heard 1,200 and something, I've heard 5,000. So what's the number? Because based on my number, it's 749. So what's the number? A clerk, the township, should present to the committee of petitioners, what is your number? And your number keeps on changing from 700 something to 1,200 something to 5,000 something. So what's the number?
That's a good comment, because they stuck with the 20 days, so maybe we should have different amount of days.
Any other further questions?
Yes, so also, the cannabis thing, if you did a little research, Frankfurt and Lafayette also passed the cannabis ordinance, but it's for growing only, no retail stores. So they have growers in barns with $100 million budget of income. And at 2%, you're making $2 million. Putting a lot of retail stores, what are they going to make? $1 million, $2 million, $3 million? What's 2% of $3 million? $60,000? It's nothing. So if you want to make money off of cannabis, let a grower grow it. He stores it in his barn. He ships it out of the town. And like I said, you can check Frankfurt and Lafayette. That's how they passed their ordinance. They're being smart about it. And since this cannabis thing, I mean, I started driving around. It's like, it really is everywhere. I mean, there's like store here in Franklin, across the street, and Sussex Borough, and Andover, and here. And it's like, there's a lot of stores. But if you really want to make money, the growers. Again, like, I think you were talking with this young man. He was talking for 5 minutes, then he sat down, and then I clocked it. Then the conversation went on for another 6 minutes, and when you're sitting there talking, we can't hear you back home on YouTube. So unless you're talking to the mic, we can't hear you on YouTube. So he had a 5-minute conversation, sat down, respected the clock, but then it went on for another 6 minutes, and you weren't talking to him. Neil, I got to tell you, last time I was here, I got a lot of emails, I got phone calls, I got text message. People were telling me like, man, this guy is arrogant. So, you know, stop being so arrogant. Stop it, you know. You did something with Castamore last time. People that don't know you said like that you were rude, that you're misbehaving, that you're arrogant. And I'm telling you, I walked away here feeling that you were arrogant, but when I got emails and phone calls and people said, man, that guy's arrogant. It's like, okay, that's a confirmation, you know? So I would like to know what the number is because I want to do a petition to change the 5 minutes. So I want to know if I have to collect 450 signatures because it's only 10%, or you're going to make up another number.
Any further questions?
I mean, I probably do have a few more questions. I didn't bring my list, you know. No.
Okay.
I'll stop at this point.
So your first one about the federal lawsuit on the website, that is something I had alluded to earlier, that when significant events happen in the litigation, any filings, I would like that on our page. That hasn't happened yet. I'll look into that. Hopefully that will happen. Your second one, I think, was about
The IT guy.
yeah, IT guy, about putting things in order. I think that, you know, we have we spoken to Michael Dempsey?
He's working on it, and he's working with Roxanne on getting, you want it in chronological order, correct?
That's how usually most websites are.
Yeah, well, right, and I believe that they
Almost
are working on it.
YouTube,
And
YouTube.
actually, I believe Roxanne has been working on that, on putting them in order.
Have you or not? No, I don't think so.
The videos. The videos of the council meetings as they're posted on the website.
It sounds like a
I'll
no.
follow up on it.
It's all mixed up.
I'll follow up.
Okay.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Are you talking about on YouTube site itself that they're in different order?
Yes.
Okay, I don't know,
Yeah.
somebody correct me. I don't know if any user or any town, anybody has control over how
Oh,
YouTube.
No, if you
arranges
have,
it.
if you have a YouTube page, you have control of your YouTube page. It's your page. It's Sparta Township YouTube page.
You can adjust the sequencing of it?
Of course. And everybody has older videos all the way to the right. And then as you come to the modern one, you just click on their, subscribe and that, and it's right there.
I imagine that would be IT.
Yeah, and it's,
That's not,
and you have four
that's not the
different.
clerk,
That's
that's an
IT.
IT.
I didn't say the clerk.
No, I'm
He
saying
was saying that you were
That's
working
an
on
I-
it. Yeah.
That's
it's-
IT. But I think
What I was
YouTube
referring
has
to, Roxanne,
controls.
was on our webpage, how we have the videos on the council. We're getting those in order, but I understand what you're speaking of
You mean
too.
on YouTube?
No, they are,
Right.
they are in order.
I'll get back to you on that.
Roxanne's working 24/7 as
I
it
know,
is.
that's
We know
why I
that.
said I don't think
Right.
she's doing that. That's why I only said IT. Next,
And then I think I'm going to refer to our, I think the certification is a legal issue. And my understanding, that's part of the process.
so I'm not even talking about certification. I'm talking about the clerk with the township attorney should acknowledge and tell the petitioners, you need this amount of signatures, and give a number. And they haven't given a number, but they gave 3 different numbers. And the numbers are crazy. 700 something, that's my number, 749. Based on 15% of the people who went to vote during the General Assembly election. just, I haven't said this in general, but again, legislation, this is going to be a little bit different. The legislation decided to create this Faulkner Act, which is basically give the power to the people, right? So then they said, listen, you can make an initiative petition, which is create an ordinance at 10%, and you can repeal an ordinance at 15%. Now, if they wanted to make it difficult, they would have said 30% or 50%. They would have raised that percentage higher. And then what they did was they said, you know what? It's not going to be based on the general election when a president is running, because more people are going to go vote. It's going to be based on the General Assembly election, which fewer people go and vote. So that's how the legislation of New Jersey decided to create this Faulkner Act, to make it as easy as possible for the people. Now, what the town is saying, so for example, 4,500 people went and voted on the General Assembly. So the 15% is that 749. We have 2 General Assembly members. They said, well, the voters voted for 2 Assembly members, so that means you got to get double the amount. No, it's not based on how many people cast the vote for General Assembly members. And then when we had a conversation, well, during the General Assembly election, there's also, you might be voting for a governor and council members and this and BOE. So now is it based on everybody? Like if you did 12 votes, if you cast your votes 12 times, that's counted? No, it doesn't say anything about how many assembly members. The assembly election, that's the venue. I know the word uses votes cast, but it's basically if there's 20 of us in the room and 8 of us went to vote, how many votes were cast? There were 8 votes cast. It's based on that. It's not based on how many assembly members we voted for. In Bergen County, there's 6 assembly members. So it'd be really crazy. Every county would be different, that 10%, 15%. Legislation didn't want to create a ruckus. They want to make it very simple. 10%, 15%, General Assembly, not a presidential election. Make it easy on the people.
I think, you're answering you're answering the question to yourself, which is what the number should be. But I think the question was, what's the number? And I think that's part of my understanding, that's part of the certification process, but I could be wrong. I don't.
So Jesse, so you've identified an issue, which is a fair question. I would submit to you is that the petition is a legal challenge under the statute which you've identified. The petitioner has a right to posit what it believes to be a number. Certainly, I appreciate what you're saying that the township can offer a number but there is some analysis as to what that number is, and I understand you like to hear a fair number, and you may not agree with it.
And I totally disagree with you because the township, and I'm not going to say you or Roxanne, the township needs to say, you have 20 days, the 20th day is May 12th, and this is the amount of signatures you have to collect. I've done this in Sparta, in Byram, in Mount Olive, Rockaway, Denville Township. Every clerk, every township attorney has given this information prior to the petitioners collecting signatures. Why isn't this happening in Sparta this time? Because in the past, it happened. I had a letter from the clerk telling me how many signatures I had to get. Why isn't it happening this time? And why till today, even after they submit it, you still don't know the number?
Well, that's not, respectfully,
Is it 749? Is it your version of 1,200? Is your other version of 5,000? What's the number? Go on record, go on record, put it in writing. What's your number? What's your number?
Well, Jesse, respectfully, I'm not going to go on record now. I'm going to use the 20 days to provide you.
The 20 days is to verify if these registered voters are registered voters, if they have the minimum amount of signatures. What is the minimum amount of signatures, I'm asking you? And you don't have the answer.
Well, respectfully, I have a...
You don't want to give it to me respectfully, but that's still not giving me the answer.
Well,
and this is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
This is wrong what you're doing. This is not how it's done.
Okay, well, and then your final question was about cultivation for cannabis, that, I guess we'll put you down as a supporter of cultivation of cannabis, and that's something that we can address
If the
in
town wants
future.
to make money, if you want to collect 2%, yeah, let a farmer do it and he ships it out. And again, you can confirm what I'm saying, that Frankfurt Township passed it and Lafayette passed it, but they have no stores and they're making big money. And I happen to know the individual that lent the money to one of the growers, and it was $100 million loan. Because whenever these cannabis stores open up, or these farmers, it's a long-term investment.
That's something that we can consider, but thank you for your question, and I think that was,
Did I have some other points?
I think that was it. That's what I wrote down. The fifth, I don't know if there was a fifth question, but that was
No.
it. So,
Thank you
all
for
right,
coming,
thank
sir.
you.
Yes,
Thank you.
the last thing was, I was
Sir,
asking,
sir,
the last thing,
it-
there was,
Let's answer his
I
There was
know,
one
but
other question.
I do want to say,
Let's answer
I
his
understand
questions.
that, you can characterize me as, but I have a job to do to try to make the efficient use of our time and the efficient deliberation of matters. And that means that sometimes I have to cut people off.
But you ever
And
clock
so-
yourself? You're the one that's doing most of the talking. You ever clock yourself? You ever go watch yourself on YouTube? You're talking more than half everybody else. If the thing's going on for 2 hours, you're talking more than an hour. If the thing's going on 4 hours, you're talking more than 2 hours.
Well, I'm going to make a motion to adjourn all those.
I did still
I'm
want the
moving to
answer of the
adjourn.
10%. That's what I'm waiting for. I want to know what the number is, because I
point's
want to create
taken.
an
The motion
ordinance
is to adjourn the meeting.
this time thing.
The petitioner should know what the number is.
So, I think that
Jesse,
question,
at the last meeting, you said it was not appropriate for the speaker to address anyone other than the mayor.
No, I said, when you come up here, you should address the mayor, but I could ask Zep something. Hey, Zep, how you doing? You're good? Chief, you're doing
I
good
think the
too?
5 minutes is
Yeah,
over.
I-
Yeah,
and-
appreciate it,
yeah.
Mr. Willis.
and
I do want to, this is something totally different. I just
And
want to
you're
talk.
allowed to have your opinions of the mayor.
Yes,
Everyone
of
can have
course,
opinions
of
of the
course,
mayor,
of course.
but that's just opinions.
I just want to mention,
for this
I just
evening.
want to
It's
mention
getting late.
Elizabeth Gaz. I just want to mention
I'll make a
Elizabeth
motion
Gaz.
to adjourn
Let me
the meeting.
talk, let me say about Elizabeth Gaz.
we have a
You
second.
got another 2
Go ahead,
minutes.
Jesse.
Thank you,
Mark, we
thank
do have
you.
Mark, we have a limit.
Yep.
We need to all.
I'm talking about Elizabeth Gaz. They were in front of my house, they were in my development, they were jackhammering, and they busted, the same day they were right in front of my house, in front of my driveway, my water started leaking from my driveway. They said it's too far up, it's not our concern, even though I'm on bedrock. So now they're right in front of me. That day, my water was leaking. Got in touch with Zep, got in touch with the contractor with this. They said, sorry, we're not going to do anything. So I had to deal with now a water leak because they were jackhammering on the street. 3 days later, they're jackhammering by my mailbox. They break 3 of the Belgian blocks. They move dirt next to the mailbox. My mailbox is down. They said, like, you think we did that? We didn't do that. So, Elizabethtown, yeah, I want natural gas, but this contractor that they have takes 2/3 to 3/4 of, if you don't shut the road down, they take 2/3 to 3/4 of the road. They don't work on their side. You have to wait for them. They put these big bundles of QP right in the middle of the road.
I'm going to say something that you've probably heard before. This could be an email.
I'm not going to email you.
Okay, well, I think I would advise you to do that if you have, that's how a lot of people in town
No, I want
communicate
the whole
problems that they
town
have
to know.
with
I
particular-
want the whole town to know that if Elizabeth, if the contractor is in front of them and they break their water main, to reach out to James Epp, because it will be not a one-time incident, it will be a multiple incident.
Thanks, Jess.
You're welcome.
Thank you. So we have a first and a second for adjourn. All those in favor of adjourning, say aye.
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 We are adjourned.
I think I'm going to fall asleep on my way home.